92% of homeowners do not know what all the different functions are of an electric wire stripper. Do you? In this video, I'm going to show you and demonstrate every single function on this. I think you'll be impressed at how many different options and tools are built into this. Every single different dimple and indentation and hole has a function. Okay, these particular multi-function wire strippers are made in USA by Ideal Industries. There's a lot of different manufacturers out there. I love the ones with the spring. If it doesn't have a spring, it's hard to operate with one hand because you have to open it back up. So look for the spring. Also, this one has the locking feature. That tab will close. It stays shut and you throw it in your toolbox. And then when you're ready to use it, it pops open. Okay, everybody knows wire strippers are for stripping wire, right? But what are the numbers and why are they different on the left and the right? The left says solid, American wire gauge. That's just AWG. That's the thickness of the wire gauge, between 6 and 32 seconds. That's a thicker wire and a thinner wire. Now you have the different numbers on the left and the right because the right actually says stranded. So your thinner stranded wires are like your light fixtures and small devices like that. Your household wiring is always going to be solid. Okay, this happens to be 14 gauge wire, so on the solid left side, you would simply match it up with the 14 gauge slot and you would cut and pull. Now that does take a little bit of strength. Let me show you another tip. Put it on the 14 or the correct size that you have and you just rotate. So you cut that sheathing. Now you can pop it open and trap the cut piece of wire. At the very end, there's a little indentation and you can just grab onto the excess and it pops right off. Next, which is really, really handy, right there, that's actually a sharp edge like scissors, but it's sharper enough to be cutting wire. Check this out. Two at the same time. So you got a wire cutter in there, as well as the stripper, as well as the plier function. No longer do you need a separate pair of pliers. You have a plier tip right there on the end. Okay, one of the more mysterious ones is these suspicious holes over here. It's marked as 830 seconds. Electrical screws are threaded and flat on the end. They're not allowed to be sharp. Now when you're screwing into an electrical box, sometimes these screws are just too darn long. And your temptation is to just grab a pair of tin snips or something and cut that screw right off. The problem is that will mash all of the threads and it won't go into the box ever again. It'll be ruined. So you need a safe, proper way to cut that. That's what those threaded holes are for. Depending on the thickness of your screw, this one, go in the larger screw, you're actually going to thread it right on. So when the screw holes align, you're actually going to screw that in. Look what it did there when you screwed it in. It's actually threaded on the inside. And now I'm going to use my muscles and give it a snip. Now back it out. And the grooves are still clean and you can still use that for your electrical box. And it is the right depth for your particular situation. These wire strippers will strip from a real thin 16 gauge, which is very thin, all the way up to a thicker 8 gauge, which is like AC wire, very, very thick. This one is 14 gauge. Again, I like to just strip it right off. Sometimes if it's stuck, you can use the end piece to pull and tug. You can also use those pliers to pull wire and push wire back into a box. When you look closely at outlets, you have lots of different tabs. You can use the pliers to bend and manipulate, and you can snap those tabs right off easily. You can also use these holes to create a hook in your wire. Grab the end, just give it a little twist, and then you have that hook shape for your screw. The products that I've used in today's video are in the video description down below. I love a multi-purpose tool that literally has more than one use, and the handy dandy wire stripper in this case has about 8 different uses. Definitely pick this up and keep it in your toolbox. You'll use it regularly.